of music where music education is prominent. And for our second lesson today, we will cover the style of March Madness and how to make original beats in the style of March Madness. So not how to do the beat. Nobody wants to remake someone else's beat, but we want to know about the style and the psychology behind the style so that we may make more music in the style. And so there's a lot to learn here, and this style is very valuable. I myself have been able to sold about, I believe, 5 or 6 exclusive rights for my original March Madness type beat tracks. So I was able to make a lot of money off of this style. So it's very, very prominent and prevalent, and I think it has obviously has a lot of value because I was able to make around 10,000 off of just the style, right? So I'm here to share with you guys about the style, break it down so that you guys can use these techniques in your own music and see what you come up with and stuff. So in order for us to learn, and of course, I know that people think, oh, this is a purity, and that's not an explanation of the style. And you knowing the information of it being made in purity, that doesn't teach you how to do something like this yourself. You still have no idea exactly musically what's going on, and therefore you won't be able to use the composition as building blocks to create your own original sound. So I'm here to basically break that ice for everyone and let the style live on. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. So again, we want to learn, before we go into learning the original style, we have to know what was happening in the actual song itself. So March Madness was a very emotional track, one of the greatest trap songs ever made, one of Future's greatest songs, one of the greatest trap beats ever made. So it's a historical all the way around. Shout out Tarantino on the beat, and of course Future, the legend. So let's get into it. So what do we have here? So like I said, you guys know about purity, yada, yada, yada. However, what exactly is going on here? What is the purity doing? And that's the key. So therefore, you can bypass using a sequencer and you can just create the melodies yourself. And we obviously will have to do a couple videos to cover this. But first, we're going to break down the entire style itself. And then we'll go in with the next video and I'll show you some of my original compositions and which we were able to make a lot of money from. Okay, so here's what's basically going down. So we know we have this purity, and let's get into that. So okay, so that was the sequence used by Tarantino from 808 Mafia in the beat. And so what is happening and how is March Madness able to happen? So it's more than just, oh, well, it was thrown into a gross beat of a slow triplet and then the beat was fire. Well, there's theory behind that, so you can be able to expound on this idea. So going back to the sequencer, the first thing to note is what is this sequencer doing? Okay, it is creating a sequence, a groove, and it's actually in the key of E flat major, not A flat major, as this would suggest. And I'll break that down to you in just a second. But the key of E flat major, let's go over the scale really quick. We know what we're dealing with. So you got E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C natural, D natural, and then here's your octave. And so this groove is in E flat. So you're probably wondering, well, we hear the A flat bass note over and over again. So how is it in the key of E flat? Well, easily. Here's E flat here. This is the 4th scale degree, which is a Lydian, which is the Lydian mode. Okay, so what you're hearing is a groove based on the Lydian mode, but it's still within the key. It still has the D natural and not the C sharp. Okay, if you were to play a C sharp over this melody, it would be a wrong note. That's because it's not the key of A flat major, it's the key of E flat. Okay, so now we know that. So there's a groove going on in the key of E flat major. So that's the first thing to know. So we know what key we're in. Okay, now with this groove, you put it, obviously Tarantino put it into the gross beat in the slow triplet. So now that it's in here, what has happened? And that's where everything kind of starts. So what the gross beat did was obviously it will slow down the sequence and into slow triplets, but the key determining factor is actually that the gross beat, when you put into a slow triplet, it moves whatever you are putting this effect on, it moves it down a perfect fourth, the interval of a perfect fourth. So in other words, if we were in the key of E flat, okay, and you do count E flat as one. So here's one, go down the scale, two being D, three, and then so this is a perfect fourth down. Okay, that's the interval. So it moved the key. So that's important to know. So we're no longer in the key of E flat. We're now in the key of B flat. And that's why this is important to note, because anytime you use the slow triplet effect, and that's the key to know, because you're going to be, say you're making a groove and you have something that you like, a little loop in the key of C minor, and you say, okay, now I'm going to put the slow triplet on it. Well, when you put the slow triplet on it, you have to know that, okay, my melody is now in G minor. And that's important to know because that's your new tonal center. And as you know, as I teach you guys, you're building around that tonal center. Okay, so with the tonal center formerly being E flat, now with the gross beat on it, it is now B flat. Okay, now the groove is still set to Lydian mode, okay, which is interesting, which in turn is still E flat, right? Isn't that something? So E flat will be the groove is still an E flat Lydian mode groove, okay? So that's where we are so far. So now you have that bit of information, okay? So now what? Well, obviously, I'll teach you guys some production stuff that are kind of obvious. So you're gonna want to, you hear the bass notes. So here, I'll break down to you. Everybody knows, oh, we'll clip off the back end because it'd be too muddy. But yeah, you have to clip off the back end, not just because it has low frequency, but it also, anytime you have a bass note, the lowest frequency will control the tonal center. So with this just being kind of the groove, and you want to put an 808 in there and stuff like that, you don't want that E flat Lydian groove to control your tonal center. So you want to kind of scrape that off a little bit with some equalization and stuff. So we did that, okay? And just a little clipping and shaving just to get rid of the back end, so that way a bass can live in the lower frequency. Now, now that we have that groove going on, so you understand we are now in the key of B flat major. So here's where things get interesting. So let's set the groove down, right? So we have this. So when you have a tonal center established, which we do, we're in the key of B flat, but it's kind of, as of now, it's kind of in the Lydian mode. The groove is set there. Let's go ahead and continue to set the groove to the beat down. So you'll want to put a snare in and all that type of stuff. So let's go ahead and do that. So typically you probably wouldn't do the kick first though, right? You would more than likely add the 808. So with the 808, here we are. This 808 is not tuned, so while it says C, it's actually a G. Okay, so this you would have to transpose this in your mind to G. Okay, so when you know music theory and stuff like that, you don't really need to tune your 808s because it's just a waste of time, basically, because you already know you can move all this stuff around in your head, the thought process. So you hear the right pitch and you know it's up a fourth, and you can operate. So in the bass line, you operate in C minor. That's why we use numbers and say, oh, I'm on the fourth scale degree or the third or so on and so forth. So when you transpose it to a different key, it doesn't matter. If you use note names and say, oh, this is C and G and F or whatever, when you move to a different key, it's not gonna translate, basically. So This is a G, basically, what I'm saying. So, with that being said, why he chose a G here in the bass, and immediately what that's going to do is it's going to make a minor quality. So, okay, see, so basically, you're now in the relative minor. So this is a little trick that I was teaching too back in 2016, which is basically that music sounds really nice when you take a major groove, but then put the minor behind it. So that's why the beat sounds so emotional. Why it has such an emotional range is because it was a major groove, and then he put the minor bass note behind it. So it immediately turned it into like a G minor composition, and that's basically what's taking place. So it turns into a G minor composition, and he's basically going, 1, 5, okay, back to 1, and then it's going to go to the 6 chord, basically, which is common in trap, right, and common in modern music. So you go minor 1 to the major 6, basically. So this is a 6 chord, and it's a major 6. And that is a common, as we all know, the 1-6 chord progression. That's very common. So this was masterful. He turned this into a 1-6 chord progression by via the bass notes. So it's really modal music. It's modal music because the whole music sat inside of the mode, but he exploited the mode, and is really just tricking the minds of people into thinking that there's an actual chord progression here, but there's not a chord progression. He's just implying that it's a 1-6, but it's not, and that's because the bass movement. Go look at my work just released a few hours ago on the Drake hard trap dark beat style, and there you'll actually get the full explanation of how this works. Just modal music, it has more explanation there. So here we're more or less focused on covering the style of March Madness, and so yeah, so just a 1-6 chord progression through the modal music. So let's listen again. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And as you guys know, once you create your tonal center, which the tonal center here was B flat, major, in the Lydian mode, and then he went ahead and used the bass notes that are indicative of a 1-6 chord progression. It was ingenious, and that was pretty much the whole tonal center. And then we're gonna do some decorating and embellishments, and that'll close out. But what I want to add also is that March Madness is based on triplets, right? So the triplet melody, look what the melody is doing now since being added into the gross beat. The triplet 1, the triplet boom, but triplet 1, the triplet 2, a triplet 3. You see? So that's the mode, and that's what's important to know as we're going to learn how to create our own beats in this style without using a sequencer or any of that type of stuff. Just to know that, it's kind of a triplet melody type thing. And so the rest is decoration. Now the whole beat is done. You can throw in your kicks. Okay, so why is music theory then really, really important? Because, for example, if you do decide, or say if you did get caught in a situation where you're using a sequencer, if you know all of this information about what it's doing, how it's doing it, when you can add to it now, okay, you can decorate and embellish the tonal center immediately without guessing, trying to hope to find the right thing. Now, yes, you could use your ear, but just knowing this information will bypass, just saving you a lot of time and give you pure, 100% dominance and control over the composition. So here there's a triplet melody, and this would also, just knowing your theory, you would know to add a triplet melody because it's going to go along with everything. Now this is another this is our ARP, okay, being used, and I wanted to kind of keep it similar to what he was doing, so we're using a lot of ARPs. So this ARP, you can then put another ARP in the triplet, and it'll work out. triplet ARP, and it was already a triplet, and so it worked out. So notice how with the triplet ARP, I just play G, okay, and I don't have to play C or up a fourth because it did not get put in the gross beat. So this is playing a G minor groove right here, and I'm just moving it from one octave up and then down. And it's basically setting everything off. It's already in triplets and it's in key. Now what this also would do is, because it really pushes the tonal center to make sure it sits like in Aeolian. So it kind of really shifts things to Aeolian. It's really pushing that we are in the Aeolian mode with the 1/6 chord progression. And that's how the E flat really works, because the Lydian mode of B flat, E flat, the E flat just becomes a 6. So it all works, right? This is all modal music. It all makes sense. It all works out. And you can continue to decorate in this type of way. So supporting melody, we can use another ARP here, and see, you know where you're at and you know what key you're in. And so here's another one for G minor. Okay, so you have another there, and then here there's some harmony here. So if you listen, so some of this, let's go ahead and switch this back now that you guys get the concept, because when I made this beat, I did not use the original setting. I want to be kind of remix it a little bit. But now let's go back and show you this. So I'm going into the main melody. Let's put it back on what I had it, which is 3 feelings. And I want to show you how this concept, you can move this around pretty much anywhere. So go like this. Okay. So let's listen to the new groove set when we change the setting on Purity. Okay, so now we have a new groove. So it's the same concept, and the reason why I changed is because these decorations only go with the first groove, so it wouldn't have sounded good. So now we can decorate because we know what key we're in. So all we're doing is decorating in the B flat major key, G minor scale. So here is just minor thirds, okay, going back and forth. So basically scalar, so C to B flat going back. And this is just what you call support, and we added some harmony to it. And then here's some electric like triplets. You have your supporting melody. Now, of course, all of this stuff won't be in at once, but we're just showing you the composition. And then here is the triplet melody. So that is the information that you guys need in order for us to go on further lessons and learn how to explore the actual style. So quick recap. So what did we learn? Well, we learned about the gross beat. When you do use the slow triplet setting, that is going to move down everything down a fourth. That's important to know because it's basically changing your key, the key to your tonal center. And then it's also, we learned that everything's going in triplets, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. So to accommodate and decorate and embellish around that, you may want to add other triplet rhythms. And so we learned that, and also that when you know what key you're in and you know a little bit of theory, you can now build better upon your supporting melodies and stuff like that. So this is another beat. This beat I made as a kind of like a remix, like tribute kind of thing, and then even this one sold. So I was like, this style is very valuable, and you can make a lot of money off of this stuff. So going forward, now that you guys have a basic understanding of what the March Madness style is, we're going to cover original compositions, the ones that sold really in the game beats, and then we're going to learn how to make original style March Madness beats, which is really really dope. So let's go ahead and just listen to the whole beat now, and then we'll get out of here. By the way, everybody knows you just double the you go ahead and double the slow triplet feel to get the intro like this. And that's another cool thing too. As you guys know, they'll have halftime something 2 times or whatever, depending on what it did to just to get a nice bridge or something crazy. We see people do that a lot. So that's what this is. And where's that at? Yep, right there. anyway, so there you have it. So that's what the whole beat sounds like all in all. So what we're going to do is now, in the coming days, in just a few days, now we're able to cover, which is going to get exciting. So now we'll go inside of the style and show you how to create original compositions in the style. But we had to get through this first just so you would understand what is the style, right? Everyone just thought it was just about a purity. It's deeper than that. It's way more ingenious than that. This is a groundbreaking composition done by Tarantino and Future. So there's a lot more into it. So yeah, it's all about the triplets, and that's like the main thing. So I think what I forgot to do was, so the original tempo was actually here. So I forgot to set it back. So it did sound a little different, but this is how. To just type in like March Madness type B where SP Anonymous. You'll hear the original. It was done actually at 123. So anyway, so it would sound a little bit different than that. But yes, so that's the gist of the style. Everybody got that down. So now next we'll cover how to now make your own type beats in this style, that's where it gets exciting, because we've heard this before, but we want to know, how do you make beats like it without kind of copying or anything like that. So, and that'll be that. So yeah, again, do this for SP Anonymous School of Music, and you can join the school. We have a full university level training for producers, catering to producers, but it's you learn how to read and write music, and rhythm reading, and how to read sheet music. Also, the fundamentals of music. And you have music composition, where you learn instrumentation from the beginning of time all the way up, so you'll know and be able to handle, any type of beat. We go over form, structure, compositional techniques, melody techniques, pretty much everything. And of course, piano class. We have a piano class, but however, look out for a sample of Piano for Producers online. I'll be dropping that on YouTube, and then also. Music theory class, obviously, and music production. There's beat analyzation course. We talk about music business stuff. We have piano therapy, study hall, beat nights, where you get your music critiqued. And I think the best thing about the school is that I'm mentoring and monitoring, overseeing every student's progression the whole time. So I'm heavily involved with your musical upbringing when you're in the school. So email. Feel free to email in the description, and we'll get you an interview and consultation, if nothing else, and see if it's right for you. So anyway, peace and blessings, and we'll see you guys next time.